Max Verstappen qualified 6th, spun on Saturday, fought one of the hardest races of his year, and still finished second at the Hungarian Grand Prix. That sounds like shocking speed. It sounds like the RB22 suddenly came alive. It sounds like Red Bull found a hidden breakthrough. But the numbers tell a different story. Verstappen finished 15.080 seconds behind Lando Norris. Then Max said the sentence that exposed everything. "I don't understand how we're second. There is no confirmed secret upgrade, no verified overnight transformation, and no evidence in the source that the forward connection suddenly unlocked car. What is confirmed is much more serious. The handling problems remained. The car became harder to manage. And Verstappen warned that it was not only the tires degrading, the car itself was degrading beneath him. So this was not a normal comeback. It was a result that looked faster than the car really was. And the real reason Verstappen reached second may expose the biggest weakness inside the RB22. Subscribe to the channel. To understand what Verstappen's second place really exposed, you have to start with the part the final result tried to hide. Red Bull did not arrive on Sunday with a car that looked ready to fight for the win. Verstappen had qualified 6th. He had spun on Saturday. And Laurent Mekies had already admitted that Red Bull lacked the pace to match Ferrari and McLaren. That matters, because 6th place was not the result of one tiny mistake hiding a dominant car. The entire weekend had been pointing in the wrong direction. The RB22 looked difficult. Its performance appeared sensitive. And Red Bull knew that when everything was not exactly right, the team could fall backward very quickly. That is not what a stable front-running car looks like. A stable car gives the driver options. It gives him confidence under braking. It allows him to attack several different lines. It remains understandable when the tires change, when the fuel level drops, and when the circuit evolves. A sensitive car is different. It may offer speed for one lap, then lose balance in the next phase. It may feel competitive in one corner, then become unpredictable in another. And when the operating window is narrow enough, the smallest change can turn a promising session into a fight for survival. Hungary exposed that danger. Red Bull could not simply place the car on the circuit and expect the performance to appear. The setup had to be right. The tires had to behave. The balance had to remain inside a very precise range. And Verstappen had to compensate for everything that did not. That is why the idea of shocking speed needs to be examined carefully. Because speed is not only a finishing position. Real speed is repeatable. It appears in qualifying. It survives through the race. It gives the driver confidence. It allows the team to explain where the lap time came from. Hungary gave Red Bull none of that certainty. It gave the team second place. But it did not give Verstappen a clear explanation. "I don't understand how we are second." That sentence changes the meaning of the entire race. A driver usually understands when the car has improved. He feels a stronger front end. He feels more traction. He feels the rear becoming easier to control. He notices when the braking platform becomes stable. And he knows when he is finally able to push instead of manage. Verstappen did not describe that kind of transformation. He described one of his hardest races of the year. The handling problems remained. The car did not suddenly become easy. And the final position did not match the experience inside the cockpit. That is the first major clue. Verstappen was not shocked because the RB22 had become incredibly fast. He was shocked because it had finished second without ever feeling like a genuine second-place car. That is a completely different story. And it is much more important because an unexpected result can come from many things. Strategy, track position, incidents, problem for rivals, the timing of stops, the way the race unfolds, a driver who refuses to make a mistake, while others lose control of their own afternoons. The source does not provide a complete enough sequence to prove exactly how every position changed. So it would be wrong to invent one dramatic moment and claim that it explains everything. But the confirmed evidence makes one point clear. Verstappen did not believe the car's natural performance justified the final result. That means Red Bull has to separate two things: what the car achieved and what Verstappen rescued. Those are not always the same. An exceptional driver can make a difficult car look competitive. He can brake later than most drivers would dare. He can manage instability. He can protect weak tires. He can recognize opportunities before they fully appear. He can keep the car alive long enough for the race to move toward him. That ability can create extraordinary results, but it can also create a dangerous illusion. The team sees a podium. The engineers see useful points. The public sees a comeback. And the weakness inside the car becomes harder to recognize. Verstappen may have hidden Red Bull's true performance simply by being too effective. That is what makes Hungary so uncomfortable. A poor result would have made the problem obvious. A sixth-place finish would have forced immediate questions. A difficult Sunday would have matched the difficult Saturday. But second place changed the atmosphere. It made the weekend look recovered. It created the impression that Red Bull had found something, and yet Verstappen's own words rejected that conclusion. He did not say the car came alive. He did not say Red Bull unlocked a new level of performance. He did not confirm a technical breakthrough. He said he did not understand the result. Then he revealed the deeper problem. When instead of the tires degrading, your car is degrading, then you have a big problem. That is a line that exposes the RB22 more than the podium ever could. Tire degradation is normal. Every Formula One driver expects it. The rubber loses grip. The braking distance increases. Traction becomes harder. The driver changes the way he attacks the corner. The team adjusts strategy. That process is understood. But when the driver says the car itself is degrading, the problem becomes far more difficult, because now the platform is changing. The balance may be moving away from the driver. The car may stop responding the same way from one lap to the next. A corner that felt manageable earlier can suddenly demand a correction. A braking zone that felt stable can begin producing uncertainty. The driver no longer knows whether the next lap will behave like the previous one, and that uncertainty is devastating. Not because it always creates one spectacular mistake, because it removes commitment a little at a time. The driver brakes slightly earlier. He releases the brake more carefully. He waits before applying full throttle. He adds a small steering correction, then another. Each adjustment seems tiny, but over an entire race, those tiny losses become enormous. They become the difference between controlling the Grand Prix and simply surviving it. They become 15.080 seconds. That gap to Lando Norris is one of the most important pieces of data from a race. Second place sounds close. 15 seconds does not. The classification placed Verstappen directly behind the winner. The time difference showed that McLaren was operating at a stronger level. Verstappen had a podium position. He did not have control of the race. And that distinction matters. A driver can finish second because he has the second fastest car. Or he can finish second because he extracted more from a difficult race than everyone around him. Hungary looked much closer to the second scenario. That does not reduce Verstappen's achievement. It makes it more impressive. But it also makes Red Bull's position more worrying. Because driver brilliance is not a development plan. Red Bull cannot design the next race around Verstappen rescuing the car again. It cannot assume that rivals will encounter problems. It cannot rely on an unusual race order. It cannot treat every difficult weekend as something Max will somehow save. Eventually, the circuit offers no opportunity. Eventually, the rivals execute perfectly. Eventually, the car starts too far back. And eventually, even Verstappen reaches the limit of what one driver can compensate for. That is why Hungary should not be viewed as proof that the RB22 suddenly became fast. It should be viewed as proof that Verstappen can still create a strong result from a package that remains fragile. And the word fragile is important. Red Bull's performance appears vulnerable to small changes. Makeys had already warned that the team could slip backward quickly when everything was not right. That tells us the problem is not only peak speed, it is the width of the operating window. A wide operating window gives a team resilience. The car can handle changing temperatures, different tire conditions, a shifting track surface, small setup imperfections. A narrow operating window gives the team almost no protection. One mistake in preparation can damage qualifying. One change in temperature can affect balance. One tire set can behave differently. And suddenly, the driver is not fighting for pole. He is trying to understand why the car no longer feels the same. That is what makes the RB22 so difficult to judge. On the right day, it may look capable. On the wrong day, it may drop behind Ferrari and McLaren. And when Verstappen still produces a podium, the real weakness becomes even harder to see. This is also why the Ford connection cannot be used as the explanation. The source does not confirm that Ford suddenly unlocked performance. It does not identify a hidden power unit change. It does not describe a secret technical intervention. And it does not provide evidence that one branded partnership caused Verstappen's result. The confirmed story is simpler and more uncomfortable. Red Bull struggled. Verstappen adapted. The race created opportunities. And the final position looked stronger than the car felt. That is what was exposed. Not a secret advantage. Not an overnight revolution. A difference between visible success and underlying performance. Red Bull now has to decide which one it trusts. The trophy or the driver. The trophy says the weekend was rescued. The driver says the car is degrading. The trophy says second place. The driver says he does not understand how. The trophy says progress. The gap to Norris says there is still a large amount of work to do. Those signals do not align. And when they do not align, a team can make the wrong decision very quickly. It can preserve a setup direction because the result looks strong. It can delay a change because the points were good. It can convince itself that the car is closer than it really is. Then the next circuit removes the illusion. The car falls outside its operating window again. The rivals complete clean races. And the result finally matches the weakness Verstappen was already describing. That is the danger now. Hungary may have protected Red Bull in the championship, but it may also have exposed how dependent the team has become on Verstappen's ability to hide instability. The stronger Max performs, the easier it becomes to underestimate the car's problems. That is the paradox. Red Bull need Verstappen to rescue points, but every rescue can make the technical reality harder to see. A team cannot solve that by looking only at the finishing order. It has to study the moments beneath it. When did the balance begin to change? Where did Verstappen lose confidence? How much did the car's behavior differ between beginning and the end of each stint? Did the weakness appear under braking, during rotation, on traction? Was it linked to the circuit, the setup, the tires, or the wider design direction? The source does not provide enough technical data to answer those questions, so no precise cause can be presented as fact. But Verstappen's description tells us those are the questions Red Bull must be asking. Because the real issue is not that the RB22 lacks one magical component. The issue is that the driver cannot rely on the car remaining understandable through the race. And without predictability, speed becomes temporary. A car can produce one impressive lap. A driver can rescue one impressive result. But championships are built on performance that returns again and again. The same confidence, the same balance, the same ability to attack. Red Bull did not show that in Hungary.